Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight is Charging Forward. And that is because you may be deciding to, at last, charge forward with some new endeavor right now that you're very, very excited about. And it looks like that could succeed because there are 5 planets in the dynamic, action-oriented fire signs right now. The Sun and Mercury and Venus are all in Leo, the sign of leadership and of sports and children and love affairs and entertainment and gambling and horse racing. So people can be sort of lit from within because the Sun does rule Leo and it's in the sign it rules. So that makes that sign very strong. But those 3 planets are trining Uranus in Aries, and Uranus is going to go retrograde on Tuesday. It's going to join 3 other planets that are also retrograde. So by Tuesday, Uranus will be retrograde, Neptune and Pisces will be retrograde, Pluto and Capricorn will be retrograde, and so will Saturn in Sagittarius. That could slow things down a little bit as time goes on. But for right now, the 2 love planets, Venus in Leo and Uranus in Aries, are beautifully trining each other, which can really help in all kinds of relationships. And those 4 planets are trining Saturn, which is retrograde in Sagittarius. When Venus and Saturn trine each other, it means that old friends stick together and they do back each other up. And so this is a time when it looks like all systems are go as far as a new endeavor. It could be a new job, it could be a new home, it could be a move, it could be some sort of plan that you've been thinking about for a long time and now you're ready to launch it. So that's great. You may as well go ahead and try something new right now. And the reason why is that everything is looking great except the money. And the reason why you need to think about the money a little bit is because there are 5 planets in the fixed signs, and in their planets in both financial fixed signs as well. And those 5 planets are in very harsh aspect to each other. They're squaring and opposing each other. And so the big question right now can be, how much is something going to cost? And what happens if the money runs short? Now, I don't have the answers to those questions, but those can be the questions on everyone's mind right now, as people are very enthusiastic about going forward right now. But you do have to think about the money because the moon in Taurus is exalted in Taurus, and it is squaring the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Leo. And Mars in Scorpio, which rules that sign, so it's very strong too, is also squaring the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Leo. And Mars and that exalted moon in Taurus are opposing each other. And so since fixed signs do not budge, and they tend to dig in and stick to their own point of view, it simply means that there can be a lot of people that sort of want to hang on to their money right now, and they're not too willing to compromise. And that's why an important question for you to ask as you charge forward right now is, how much will everything cost, and what happens if the money runs short? So I think some people, even in their enthusiasm right now, had better think about a plan B if they need it. They may not need it, but they at least should consider it. Because charging forward only works if you keep the momentum up and the enthusiasm going. But that could be doubtful after a while, and that is because there are 4 retrograde planets by Tuesday. And that means that when planets go backward on their orbit, that it is a good time to review things. And it's a good time, actually a better time, to finish things up that you've been putting off and to complete those things first. But I think under the aspects of these 5 glorious planets and fire signs that a lot of people just want to surge forward right now. However, you know, you got to slow down a little bit, and if you don't feel like slowing down, I think the planets are going to slow you down eventually, so that as some new project gets off the ground because you're charging forward, it could turn into a long, slow, hard slog. It doesn't mean you wouldn't be successful, but it could slow down quite a bit if the momentum loses steam right now. And because those 5 planets in fixed signs are so harshly squaring and opposing each other, it simply means that the finish of something could be a little bit doubtful right now. So while the start to your new project can really get off the ground right now and be rather glorious, the finish of it is going to require determination, faith, a lot of it, and a rare talent for mending fences, because those 5 planets in fixed signs, being that some people have some pretty hard attitudes, particularly about money, and because Venus and Mars are squaring each other, it means that men and women have different financial priorities and they're not agreeing right now. So somebody with a lot of diplomacy and tact has got to be able to mend a few fences and bring about a few compromises in order to get something finished. So you do have to consider that as well. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think that you are definitely charging forward right now. I mean, why shouldn't you, Aries? The 3 planets in Leo are all trining your sun sign where you have Uranus, and Saturn in Sagittarius is also trining your sun sign. So I think you are right in the thick of something, and it can be sort of grand and glorious, and you would be loving it, Aries. So you may be taking a trip, you may be starting something new along with other people who are very enthusiastic about it. Or it can simply be that you are really ready for some summer fun. But an Aries is the sign of the pioneer. And so, you know, every Aries loves to get in on the beginning of something. So I think that you're really going to enjoy whatever is coming up in your life right now, Aries. And I urge you to give it your best shot, because who knows where that will end up. And it doesn't even matter about the finish right now. It's just important that something gets off the ground and gets underway. So go ahead and charge forward, Aries. I think you're going to love it. All right, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time, remember when I said that the moon is exalted in your sign, which is that means that it's at its very finest. And since yours is the sign of the good provider, you can be thinking about how to provide for your loved ones. And the reason why is there's actually a strong but very quiet grand trine in the earth signs. The exalted moon in your sign is being trined by Jupiter in Virgo and also by Pluto in Capricorn. And so my advice to you, Taurus, is steady on. In other words, I think that whatever you're doing in a really consistent manner has been paying off for you this year, and your long-term security is, going along just fine, and you can be happy with the small steps that are adding up to success right now in better health care for yourself, and also simply in the way that you do your job. You can be doing it in a more efficient way and perhaps getting some praise for that. So steady on, Taurus. And the reason why I say sort of just keep doing what you're doing is because that moon in your sign is being harshly opposed by Mars in Scorpio and squared by the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Leo. And that means you do have some financial problems that you have to address, Taurus. I don't think that they have anything to do with you as a person. They're just strictly financial, and they can be quite challenging for you right now. And so there's either bills to pay, or taxes are going up, or the needs of your loved ones are sort of out of sight right now, or the high cost of living is, overwhelming for all of us. And that's the problem, is that costs are going up far quicker than wages. And so people do have to wonder how much things are going to cost and what happens if the money runs short. And I think you have to consider that now, Taurus. If you just stay steady on doing what you're doing, you're going to be just fine. But if you go into a lot of debt right now, that could really hurt you. And so it's a much better time to pay off debt instead, if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, there aren't any planets in the air signs, but there are a lot of planets that are really lit up right now, and your ruler Mercury is one of them, because the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in Leo are all sextiling your Sun, which means there's plenty of opportunity for you to get involved in something new if you want to, Gemini. And so I think you should sort of go along for the ride as other people want to charge forward right now, and I think that's going to do you a lot of good too. And Uranus in Aries is also sextiling your Sun, and it is well aspected right now. So I think you are going to be swept up in one way or another with something new, and I think that it is going to be very stimulating for you, that you will like it, and you'll probably make some new friends as well, Gemini. So do go along with other people's ideas right now. You certainly can contribute some stimulating suggestions, because your sign is the sign of communication and change. And, you know, new beginnings mean that there is change in the air. And I think that that can really make you happy right now, Gemini. So go to it. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, a Cancer, there are no planets in your sun sign right now, but there have been for a long time. But there aren't any right now, which is good, because that means that your life can be calming down a little bit. And as far as that question goes about how much something is going to cost and what will happen if the money runs short, I don't think that's a question that you're even bothering to ask yourself, Cancer, because Mars in a fixed financial sign, Scorpio, is trining your Sun, and Neptune in Pisces is also trining your Sun. And that simply means that you can benefit from help behind the scenes from people who sort of know the real truth about things, and they are willing to share that with you. That's good. So you have private sources of information you can draw upon, and there can be some more money coming your way, or you would know where to get it. So that's just fine. Right ahead of your sun sign are the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Leo. So you could decide that you want to be a little extravagant right now with your loved ones, or with a love affair, for instance, or something that has to do with decorating or beautifying your home in some way. And since you have the money, you may as well go ahead and do it, Cancer, as I think your life actually is able to calm down a little bit, so you can concentrate a little bit more quietly on your own goals and have the money to pay for them. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, I think you're supercharged. Something very good is just about to happen to you, Leo, and if it hasn't already, it's going to. And that is because the Sun, your own ruler, Venus, and Mercury are all in your sun sign and being beautifully trined by Uranus in Aries, the other love planet, and also by Saturn in Sagittarius, which means your old friends are sort of sticking with you right now. And so I think if you want to charge forward, you could go right ahead and do that with a lot of support from other people. And they can be somewhat unusual and creative people as well, since that's what Uranus and Aries represents. However, that question about how much is everything going to cost and what happens if the money runs short, that is a question you should be asking yourself, Leo. And I suggest if your first surge of enthusiasm wanes a little bit, try to have a plan B that can still help you out. And the reason why is that there is really a fierce T-square in fixed signs, and yours is a fixed sign. So the exalted moon in Taurus is squaring your sun sign, and so is Mars in Scorpio. Scorpio rules debt, and Taurus rules investments. So, you know, you may want to go overboard a little bit right now and go into debt in order to make a good investment. And you really have to have an answer to what happens if the money runs short before you do anything extravagant. So I don't think this is a good time for you to take a gamble, Leo, but it is still a very good time to join with others and charge forward if you want. And try to keep that enthusiasm as high as you can, because you do have good ideas. They just all have to be affordable in one way or another as well. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when I think that you should do absolutely nothing. And what I mean is nothing different. And the reason why is that you just have a lot of support around you right now, Virgo. And so you can more or less just stand still and do what you've been doing, and you'll be just fine. And the reason why is that the Sun, Venus, and Mercury, your own ruler, are all in Leo right behind your sun sign. And Venus and Mercury are very late in the sign of Leo. They're about to come into your sun sign, Virgo, which is very good for you. And you have Jupiter in your sun sign already, which is being beautifully trined by Pluto in Capricorn and by the exalted moon in Taurus. Remember, there is this quietly powerful grand trine in the earth signs. And so since these planets are trining your sun sign and you have plenty of backup behind your sun sign, and even Mars in Scorpio is sextiling your sun sign, there's so much support around you right now, Virgo, that I don't suggest that you charge forward at all. You don't need to, and you should just stay where you are and sort of keep doing what you're doing. Not in a boring way. Your life could expand. There could be stimulating things going on around you. But there is no need for you to change. And so try to enjoy the wonderful support you have right now and just sort of hold still right now, Virgo. That would be your best bet right now because you're in a really good place, so stay there. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when I think that you can be beginning to see all kinds of possibilities. And people can be wanting to charge forward right now and do it in such a quick way that they don't really want to ponder any questions. They don't even want to check and see if anything's fair. They're just sort of all fired up right now. But that could be all right, Libra, because the Sun, Venus, your own ruler, and Mercury in Leo are sextiling your Sun, and Jupiter in Virgo is right behind your sun sign. That too is sextiling your Sun. And Mars in Scorpio is right ahead of your sun sign, meaning you've been having to work quite hard lately. And I really suggest you keep that up, because even if some financial matter is not decided yet, in fact, people can sort of be wanting to hang on to their own financial priorities and not compromise right now, but still, you need to continue working on something that is related to a financial matter, because I think that that is going to work out for you. My advice to you, Libra, is that no matter how hard you work and how tired you get and how uncompromising other people are, be sure to keep a smile on your face. In other words, you're noted for charm. Let that charm show right now, because people are not going to necessarily give you credit for all of the hard work you're doing, but you've got to keep doing it in order to really make something financial work out for you, and it can pay off, Libra. That's why I'm urging you to keep that smile on your face and be charming no matter what mood you're really in, and keep going forward. Because Jupiter's about to come into your sun sign in September, and things are going to work out just fine, as long as you just keep smiling. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, remember I said there are 5 planets in fixed signs right now, including in the fixed financial signs, which is what yours is. So Mars in your sign is heavily and strongly opposing the exalted moon in Taurus, which means there is a financial matter that basically means you have your own way of thinking about money, and particularly of handling debt, or you can be upset about some sort of an injustice that is related to financial mismanagement, and yet someone else just wants to go on holding on to their own money and not compromising with you at all. And on top of that, men and women are not getting along because they have different financial priorities right now. So you could be facing stiff resistance because the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Leo are all squaring Mars in your sign. So I do not think that you can reconcile a financial problem right now, but you can get an awful lot of information behind the scenes because Neptune in Pisces is trining your sun sign. So you may actually know what's really going on behind the scenes, and that in itself can be very valuable information for you. These aspects in fixed signs will change and things will ease up, but for right now people want to speed ahead. And they're going to do that, Scorpio. And so my advice to you is don't pick a fight with anybody right now. You could meet very stiff resistance, and that would only tire you out, and nobody would win anyway. So bide your time, Scorpio, and keep gathering information behind the scenes. It really will help you out eventually. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, you certainly really do need to get involved and charge forward with other people right now. There's safety in numbers, Sagittarius, because the Sun, Venus, and Mercury and Leo are trining your sun sign, which means friends may want you to help them out a lot since Saturn is in your sun sign. And the question is, how much can you afford to do for free, Sagittarius? Because it's wonderful to be helping out other people, but that's a burden, and that takes time and effort. And right now, I think you need some extra money. But you can be drawn to unusually creative people right now because Uranus in Aries is also trining your sun. So this grand trine in fire signs right now can make all of the fire signs very popular. It's just that you have Mars in Scorpio right behind your sun sign, and it is soon coming into your sun sign and joining Saturn there, and that could spell double trouble for you, Sagittarius. So any financial problem that you have has really got to be worked on before you can really charge ahead right now. But two heads are better than one, Sagittarius, so join others, let them know what your problems are, and see if they can help you instead, particularly if they're financial problems, because it's better to get help than have it get worse. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is simply a time when I think that you realize you don't need to surge forward, and that is true. While everyone else is charging forward with enthusiasm and a lot of momentum to start something new, you instead can be benefiting from this very quiet but very strong grand trine in earth signs, and that is because the exalted moon in Taurus is trining your sun where you have Pluto, and Jupiter in Virgo is also trining your sun sign. And so you may be coming into a feeling of power right now, as you sort of do know where your money is, and you do know where the good investments are, and I think you've got everything under control, and that could include your health as well, which could have been improving for a long time now, little by little. So stay where you are, Capricorn, and don't rock your boat right now, because other people are going to be surging forward, but the momentum may not hold. And so, people have to ask themselves the question, how much is it all going to cost, and what happens if the money runs short? If you just stay where you are for the time being, you do not have to ask yourself that question, because you're probably secure where you are. So that's the safest place to be. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time of extreme risk and pressure for you, and you must not give in to it right now. And that is because those 5 planets in the fixed signs are all harshly opposing and squaring your sun sign. And that means the exalted moon in Taurus is squaring your sun sign, which means that there is something very high priced that you may not be able to afford, or there can be a matter of an investment, sort of an expensive investment that you may have paid too much for, and the price could actually be coming down a little bit. That wouldn't be too good. And Mars in Scorpio is squaring your sun, meaning that if you did want to buy something pretty pricey, the debt burden could be too much for you right now, Aquarius, and so you'd better not do that. And the Sun, Venus, and Mercury are all opposing your sun sign. I don't think you can win in any kind of a financial transaction right now, and that means asking for a raise. Don't do that. You wouldn't get it. Trying to buy something expensive, it can be overpriced anyway, or the terms could be prohibitively expensive, so don't do that. And if loved ones have a lot of needs right now and they're threatening to go their own way, you better just let them, because you yourself are being very heavily threatened right now by other people who have very different opinions than yours, Aquarius. And that's why it would be very wise of you to be as quiet as possible this week. Try not to argue with anybody or even give an opinion, because you won't win. And so this is a time of danger for you, and you need to be quiet and careful. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when you can get some sort of financial help because Mars in Scorpio is trining your sun. So that's good. Maybe you can get a better extension of credit, or maybe you can get a higher paying job. But remember, I said there are going to be 4 retrograde planets by Tuesday, and that will slow things down. And when planets go retrograde, such as Neptune in your own sign, Pisces, it means that this is a better time to go back and finish things and to review them and to tie up loose ends. So there is something in your life, Pisces, that you need to go back and finish. And it could turn into a long, slow, hard slog. It might take determination, faith, and a gift for mending fences, but you can be very persuasive when you want to be, Pisces. But this is simply a time when you have to finish something, even though the stars are urging people to charge forward and start things. But not you, Pisces. You've got to wrap something up first and clear the decks and get that behind you. And then you'll have opportunity to start something new later on. All right, thanks for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want by subscribing to our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.